So much for having me.
And Ben Treckinger mentioned Donald Trump supporters, thousands of them inside the convention center. The Civic Center in Charleston, West Virginia will have live coverage of his speech when it gets underway. In the meantime, more of your phone calls. This headline from the Wall Street Journal, Michael Cohen pleading guilty, saying Trump told him to pay off the women. Charisse on the Democrats line in Columbus, Georgia.
Yes, I know those two. One of them plead guilty of money laundering, and an ex Trump attorney spent decades behind bars doing something wrong. And what is going on with those people? Even Donald Trump supporters, they voted for him. Why was that going on with him? That's the spirit. That's the reason why. And it's victory over Hillary Clinton. And protesters decide to blame the Donald Trump and said they just tried to decision to make up for this and need some education. Why is that so many credit cards? They need to save money, stay without credit cards.
Charisse, thanks for the call. We'll go to Dale, Bellingham, Washington, Republican line. Good evening.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me on.
Sure.
Hey, I listen to a lot of these listeners that you have on there. A lot of them, I think, live in a bubble, in my opinion, for some of the things they say. We got a guy in there. So what? He did a few things wrong before he ever got in office. Who hasn't? Well, anyhow, he's done more for this country in a year and a half than the last three presidents did in 16 years, but yet they just won't let it go. And another thing, I was listening to that Attorney General, that Robert Cruzami, about Michael Cohen. He's up there spouting off the good job he did and everything, and they prosecute. Well, why in the hell didn't they go after Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton and their daughter for what they've done? But yet they keep after this guy that wants to do something for this country, build our military up. I'm ex-Army in that. And anyhow, it's just, but yet you can get these people up there like that Michael, that Blumenthaler, and lie, and they don't say a damn thing about him. Oh, I served in Vietnam, and things like that. But yet they're always after this guy. I don't understand it, and it gets old after a while.
Hey, Dale, let me ask you a question, and we've been hearing really from both sides on this. How do we get beyond this political divide between the Clinton campaign and the Trump campaign as a country? Or do you think that that's just indicative of where we are today in this country? Just from your standpoint, as you look at this.
That's exactly what it is. Why didn't they investigate her instead of just rolling underneath the carpet like they've been doing? She did some things wrong, like the uranium deal and that. People don't realize this. Mueller was in on that with her. He went to Russia with her to sell that.
Where did you get that information? Because I have not heard that at all. It's Robert Mueller, by the way, and there's been no indication.
Robert Mueller. He actually went to Russia with her to make a deal with them.
A deal for what?
To sell this uranium that we had over here.
And
the
your
10%
source?
Of it.
Your source for that, Dale?
Pardon?
Your source?
Yeah, I read a book that I think his name was Casey.
Yeah.
He wrote a book on all this. It just came out. It was a bestseller here. It was about 2 months ago.
Well, that is totally news to me, and we've been trying to follow this pretty closely. But I'll take your word for it. I'm just not aware of that allegation or that.
You can go
claim.
And look on a bestseller. I can't think of his name. He was just on a talk show here the other day too. He was talking about the book, and he was talking about all these people, Casey, and all of them were involved in all this stuff.
Because I would imagine if that were true, you would be hearing from the president and from Republicans up and down the aisle on that.
Well, he's been on there. I mean, it was a bestseller book. I read it, and I loaned it to my brother, but I just can't remember the author of it right now. But
hey, Dale, thanks for calling in.
He covered all these politicians and all this stuff, and FBI agents and everything else that was involved in this.
Okay.
I mean, it just,
We're going to move on, but Dale, thanks for the call from Washington State. On the independent line, Patrick from Houston, Texas. We're awaiting the president, who is scheduled to speak within the hour in Charleston, West Virginia. Go ahead, Pat.
Great. Hey, listen, thanks for taking my call. Hey, I concur strongly. I'm an independent. I concur strongly with your last caller. He nailed it pretty much. It's amazing how that prosecutor was so sanctimonious, saying no one's above the law after what crooked Hillary did. It's amazing to me. It's remarkable. We all see through it. We know it's a witch hunt. It's a joke. And when you posed a question to him, you said, how is the divide going to get settled?
On both sides, and I say that because we've had critics of the president as well.
I'll tell you how the divide's going to get settled. More and more people are getting to work. They're getting their jobs back. They're getting raises. The stock market's going up. Their 401ks are increasing. More and more companies are coming back to invest in the United States. The President Trump is doing a fantastic job nationally, internationally. I mean, as far as the situations that were completely bungled by Obama and Hillary, he's coming out strong for the United States. That's how the divide's going to get conquered. More and more people are going to realize it, and they're going to jump on the Trump train. There's no doubt in my mind.
Pat from Houston, Texas, thanks. More reaction. We have not seen a tweet from the president, but we did hear from the president. He is in West Virginia. He will be speaking shortly. The House Democratic leader, Nancy Pelosi, reacting to today's developments. She writes the following, quote, "Today's verdicts against Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort and the guilty plea by the president's personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, are further evidence of the rampant #culture of corruption and criminality at the heart of Trump's inner circle." That from leader Nancy Pelosi. Cohen's admission, she goes on to say, of paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in hush money at the direction of the candidate to influence the 2016 election shows at real Donald Trump claims of ignorance to be far from accurate and places him in even greater legal jeopardy. That from leader Nancy Pelosi. The president likely to react to all of this. A campaign rally and the Civic Center in Charleston, West Virginia is packed to capacity. Tonight, on this Tuesday evening, Willie is joining us from Kansas, Democrats line, reacting to today's developments. Go ahead.
Yes, my name is Command Sergeant Major Willie Cole, United States Green Berets, retired. All the thing this shows me is that these Republicans, Trump said he liked uneducated people. And this shows how ignorant, and I don't mean to say that negative about Americans, but as a retired Command Sergeant Major who commanded soldiers in the Green Berets and Special Forces who got killed if people lied and died. Everybody knows that no program can be implemented like this tax cut, and the guy that called talking about jobs and all that, it takes damn near 2 years for a program to get implemented. The lady that called from Texas talking about Hillary Clinton. Let's be real. Okay, you want to talk about Hillary, and then all of a sudden, when it's against you, then Trump is almighty saint.
Okay, Willie, thanks for the call. Congressman Ted Lieu, again, reacting to Paul Manafort's conviction today, the guilty plea by Michael Cohen, the conviction of Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort, and the indictment of Congressman Duncan Hunter reaffirm three principles that are self-evident. Truth is truth, corruption is corruption, the law is the law. Truth is truth, of course, a reference to former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, who was on NBC's Meet the Press on Sunday telling host Chuck Todd that the truth isn't always the truth. By the way, Meet the Press, one of the 5 Sunday shows that we carry every Sunday afternoon on Cspan Radio, beginning at noon Eastern Time, 9 o'clock for those of you on the West Coast. Steve is joining us next from Princeton, West Virginia, Republican line, where the president is tonight. Steve, your thoughts on all of this?
Yeah, I'm kind of different. You know, I want Republicans clean. I want them good. If these guys have any dirt in their background, let's get it out and get rid of them. We don't need them. And that's, Democrats wonder why they keep getting clobbered in these elections. They won't do that. They will cover for these people. I don't care what anybody says. Even Obama's lawyers admitted that birth certificate he submitted was false. It's fake. But they just keep this ongoing cover-up for them. Clean them up. Get rid of them. And I'm a Persian Gulf veteran in the 80s when we were escorting the tankers over there from Kuwait. And I can tell you right now that the U.S. Navy is in bad shape. I monitor one Facebook page for what the people that still do my job, and my school was 18 months long. And now they are sending out people to do that same type of job with less than 6 to 8 weeks training at most. And that is what 8 years of Barack Obama did for this country.
Steve, thanks for the call. We'll go on to Martha in Cypress, Texas, independent line from the Washington Post. Paul Manafort convicted on 8 counts and 10 other charges were thrown out. The jurors unable to reach a conviction on those charges. The headline at WashingtonPost.com. Martha from Cypress, Texas, independent line. Go ahead.
I think it's an absolute joke. Robert Mueller's hit is a joke. The investigation, if he cared about the Russian collusion, why don't he look into Obama, the great divider, and Hillary, because right there is where the Russian collusion is.
Thank you very much, Martha. From Charleston, West Virginia, the president arriving about an hour and a half ago and addressing supporters at a Make America Great Again rally. Live coverage here on C-SPAN and C-SPAN Radio, also posted on our website at cspan.org.
Older than the trees, younger than